Okay, so this video is going to be about how slot machines actually work and attacking nonsense that I see all the time on YouTube, like what you see on the screen right here. Let me just start by saying there is no method or hack for beating a slot machine. Content like this right here is nothing more than clickbait garbage, and I see this day in and day out. Look at this. First of all, she's playing a penny machine. That's only 1,000 pennies. That's only $10. But this is photoshopped anyways. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, enough attacking that. 157,000 views in 3 weeks. We won on a slot machine in Las Vegas using this new $20 method. Yeah, again, there's no method. So first, let me bust all the most popular myths about casinos and slot machines. There is no such thing as a hot or cold machine. Time of day doesn't matter. Day of the week doesn't matter. Holidays don't matter. The amount of money you put into a machine doesn't matter. The amount of money someone else put in a machine before you doesn't matter. Using your player's card or not doesn't matter. Pulling the handle versus hitting the button doesn't matter. Quick stopping the reels has no effect whatsoever. And probably the most important, it doesn't matter if you or someone else just hit a jackpot on that machine. A slot machine doesn't look into the past to determine the outcome of the next spin. All of those are myths, superstitions, and misinformation that the masses believe. In fact, slot machines are random with a few caveats. In all actuality, when you understand how slot machines work, it takes the fun out of playing a slot machine. Let's talk about the design and infancy of a slot machine. To start, slot machine manufacturing companies come up with a theme and graphics. Then mathematicians create what is called a par sheet. The par sheet is going to dictate how the slot machine behaves, thus achieving the expected return to player outcome known as RTP, which can be translated later into payback percentage. Par sheets, for the most part, are kept secret, and I will explain why. For instance, looking here at Double Diamond, a basic mechanical 3-reel, 1-pay line slot machine, the odds of getting 3 double diamond symbols to line up is a 1 in 46,000 chance. To put that into perspective, take 46,000 ping pong balls, paint one of them blue, put all them balls in a bag, reach into that bag, and pull out a ping pong ball. You have a 1 in 46,000 chance to pull out the blue ping pong ball. Now put that ball back in the bag, reach in and grab another one. You still have a 1 in 46,000 chance to pull out the blue ping pong ball. And that is exactly how slot machines work. Every spin is independent from the previous spin. If that information in the way that I just described it was plastered all over the Double Diamond machines, hardly anybody would play the machine. However, Double Diamond is actually one of the best slot machines to play because what is referred to as volatility, which I will explain later. What you are looking at here is the virtual real table for Double Diamond. This information is very rare to obtain. But because Double Diamond has been out for so long, this information has leaked. But it's of no consequence to the casinos because the vast majority of the people will never learn about this, nor care. Even if you show people this, they will still have their own superstitions about how slot machines work. What's important to know about this is that this is the basic structure of how all slot machines work, no matter how complicated the machine is. Mechanical versus digital display, 1 reel versus 3 reel versus 5 reel, or 1 pay line versus 100 pay lines, etc. At the core of all slot machines is a computer running a random number generator known as RNG. In the case of Double Diamond, there are only 72 numbers the RNG can stop on when you press the spin button. And there are only 22 positions on each reel that each reel can stop on. This includes the visible symbols and the blank spaces in between each symbol. So that's a stop point. In between there is a stop point. That symbol's a stop point, and so on and so on. And this last one down here, as it wraps around the reel, that is a blank stop point. So there's a total of 22 on each one of these. From the moment a slot machine is turned on, the random number generator is cycling through all 72 numbers thousands of times per second. This cycling of numbers is happening every second of the day, whether someone is playing the machine or not. For Double Diamond, the moment you hit the spin button and the time it takes that electric pulse to reach the computer, the RNG stops and a number between 1 and 72 is selected for each of the 3 reels. The number that the RNG has selected corresponds with a position of each of the reels. And because we have access to this Double Diamond virtual reel table that you see here, we can see precisely how this works. So this is very simple. So as it's switching between 1 through 72, when you hit that button and it stops, if the number that it stops on is either 1, 2, or 3, it's going to tell the machine stop on physical reel number 1 somewhere. Okay? And these aren't exact, by the way. This is just a random picture I've got, but you can match it up here. It'll stay a blank here. So if it picks between 1 to 3, it will stop on physical reel labeled number 1. So let's say that number 1 is right here. That's where that will stop at. Okay? If it stops on a number 4, it's going to stop on reel position number 2, which would be the 7. If it stops on a number 5 to 9, which is actually 5 different numbers, it's going to stop on that position right here after that 7. If it stops between 10 to 12, which is 3 numbers, it's going to stop on position 4, which is that 1 bar right here. Okay, and then also if it stops between 13 and 19, which is another 7 possibilities, it's going to stop on that same 1 bar right there. That's what them lines mean. So essentially, that blank right there, nothing corresponds with that. It actually won't stop on that. Now that's 10 possibilities for 1 bar. 5 and 3, that's 8 possibilities for that blank. Only 1 possibility for that 7. Now let's look at the Double Diamond symbols. Number 27, there's only 1 spot for that 1 there, and then down here for number 60, there's only 1 spot. So there's only 2 numbers that can possibly come up that will make it stop on a Double Diamond. And there's 2 Double Diamonds there. So that means when that RNG stops, for you to be able to get all 3 Double Diamonds across the screen, it has to be one of these numbers has to pop up for each separate reel RNG that comes up. That's how they work. It's not that complicated. And yes, as the game itself gets more complicated, more reels, more line pays, etc., the RNG gets more complicated, the algorithm that's behind it gets more complicated, but it's still, for all intents and purposes, it's still random. That's how slot machines work. And to return back to the myths about slot machines and the return to player or the playback percentage, none of that matters in the short term. So you can ignore that. Only a select few people know the actual payback percentage of any given slot machine in the casino. Furthermore, no one in the casino can change the payback percentage without the gaming commission of that state being present, as they are the only ones that hold the physical key to open the area of the slot machine that houses the RNG software. Not the front door where they change the paper or where they reset a real tilt. Okay? This is a completely separate area within the slot machine, and nobody at the casino has access to that. The key that opens that area is actually physically held at the gaming commission. No casino is going to risk their license or risk their business when they already have a proven method to profit millions of dollars a year. Now, one could say, oh yeah, they could do it. Yes, they could do it. And I'll tell you, probably 50, 70 years ago, yeah, that would be the case, probably happened way more often, but that doesn't happen today. I assure you that doesn't happen. Now, what we're seeing here today, and this is going to be my rant real quick. We've gone from these relatively simple slot machines onto now these digital machines that are much more complicated. And what a lot of these machines have is what's called perceived progression. And this is a classic example of perceived progression. The piggies growing and popping. This means absolutely nothing. This yellow pig here is no quicker to popping than the red one is. It's called perceived progression. And we're going to look at that and prove that real quick. So here's the rant real quick. It's bad enough that these people have these misconceptions, misunderstandings, and superstitions about how slot machines work. Now the slot manufacturers and the casinos have taken it to a whole new level here by adding these perceived progressions. They need to be banned and outlawed, and we all need to boycott them, but that's never going to happen anyways. All I can personally hope for is just educate people and get them to understand it, but whatever. So, piggies, piles of gems like this right here, firecrackers lit going up, more gems. Okay, none of that matters. Now, by law, all perceived progressions have to be within the game rules. And they're all written a little bit different, but I'm just going to go through a few of these. An increased number of coins in the Money Balls bonus pot, free games bonus chest, and jackpot bonus coin pile has no effect on gameplay. Now, you have to translate that a little bit, and some would say it's buried within the game rules. I say, though, if you don't know anything about a game, you definitely need to read all the game rules. But by law, it has to be in there, and it is in there worded that way. Here's the piggies. The size of each pig is for visual appearance only and does not affect the likelihood of triggering a feature. That's how they should all be written. Matter of fact, I think it should be written right on the front of the damn machine when you walk up. But I don't play these machines anyways for this reason right here. But there it is in plain English. The appearance of pots and fire over time is for presentation only. A lot of people probably read that and don't really understand that. But that's what that means. That means it means nothing. The stampede meter, visual appearance does not affect the likelihood of triggering the stampede feature. The number of lit fuses attached to the rockets above the reels has no effect on gameplay. Again, not worded the best, but there it is. An increased number of coins in the pots or increased size of the pots above the reels has no effect on gameplay. So the deal is, by law, they have to put this in there. Now, there are some machines that will have progressive meters and things like that aren't perceived progression, but that's few and far between. There's very few. And it'll either be on the machine or in the game rules, and it'll tell you exactly how that works. But make no mistake, I just throw a wild number out there. 99% of all these games is what's considered perceived progression. I'll go back to the piggies, even though it's kind of ridiculous, but those piggies can pop 3 times in a row, no matter how big they are, or that one piggy that looks like it's about to pop, it could stay there for a whole week and never pop, and 100 people play the game, just by the way the mathematics and the RNG works. I think there's one more here. Yeah, the height of each chicken is for visual appearance only and does not affect the likelihood of triggering a feature. I mean, it's just comical. These games have become so childish, and I don't mean any disrespect, but if you're playing a game that has anything to do with the height of a chicken, you probably don't need to be going to the casino. I don't know. That's what I have to say about that. But that's why I don't play these type of machines, because they're extremely volatile, number one, which means that basically you're just playing for the bonus round. You're playing for these perceived progressions that can pop up at any time and may not pop up for a while during your whole gameplay, right? And just for the fact to boycott them. So anyways, that's my short on how slot machines actually work. Okay, now let's talk about method real quick. Now, I have to exclude all the people who play slot machines in the casino that have no idea how they work. I have to exclude all them people. What they say in their opinion does not matter whatsoever. Okay? All the other people that play that do understand how slot machines actually do work, everybody's going to have a different method of how they play slot machines. They're going to have ones they like. They're going to have ones they completely stay away from, etc., right? So I'll tell you how I personally play the majority of the time, okay? A game like this right here, or a basic double diamond, I was just too lazy to go get an image of an actual old school double diamond. This is Double Diamond Deluxe. It runs about the same. And this is a $1 machine, but it's only 2 credits. So what I'm looking for when I walk into the casino, I'm looking for a $25 2-credit machine. Okay? And that's $50 per spin. All right? Now, what I know is that the amount of money that I have, I know that 1 or 2 things is going to happen when I put that money in that slot machine. I know that I'm either going to lose it all, or I know that the moment that if and when I get up higher than the amount that I put in it, I'm going to hit the cash out button and I'm going to walk away. That's how I personally play. I don't go down there for entertainment. I don't go down there for comp points. I don't go down there for a free buffet. I go down there with the intent to win money. That's why I go down there. In my opinion, there is no entertainment in the ups and downs of your emotions playing a computerized box like this, right? So for me, no, it's not an entertainment thing. I'm going down there to make money. And that's how I personally play. Now, I'm not saying everybody should play a $25 machine, even if you play a $100 machine just like this right here. It's going to be $2 per spin. Put $100 in there, you're either going to spend that whole 100 down, or the moment you get up higher than $100. So let's say 2 or 3 spins in, you hit one of these 20s right here. That's going to be $20. Hit the cash out button. Go take a break. I generally go to the bar or something and actually get me like a Coke or something. I don't drink at the casino. But take you a break, take your little winnings that you have, go around, find you another similar machine that you like to play, and then put your money in there and rinse and repeat. That's just my advice on how I personally play. And whether anybody believes me or not, I assure you, I won $42,000 in one night alone. But I assure you, I have won more money than I have put into these machines over a period of time. I've been going down there for almost 30 years. I have a lot of history down there playing table games. There's not a single table game I don't understand fully. There's not a single table game I haven't played. There's not a single type of slot machine I haven't played down there. It's not to say that I know it all, but I have a very, very long history of experience at the casino. A lot of it that is embarrassing to even talk about before I really learned how all of this works. But yeah, so that's how I play. If anybody has any questions, please leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them the best I can. And you guys have a nice day, and we'll catch you on the next one.